Welcome to Heartfelt with Julie Margerison, a space for honest stories, tender truths, and soul-deep conversations. I'm your host, Julie Margerison, and here we explore the questions that stir something real in us, questions about joy, fear, healing, and the moments that shape who we are. Each episode is an invitation to slow down, go deeper, and hear the kind of stories that remind us we're not alone in this human experience. So wherever you are right now, thank you for being here. Let's begin. Welcome to this episode of Heartfelt with Julie Margerison podcast. I am so excited to have Debra here. Now, Debra has done a few healings on me throughout the years, and I just want to introduce you to her, and I'm going to read out her bio. So it's amazing. So bear with me with my glasses on.
Yeah.
So Deb is originally from New Zealand, and she travelled to visit family in Sydney since she was 16 and lived for 3 years in the New South Wales back in the early 90s. She returned to New Zealand, and when the financial crisis hit in 2008, she moved to Queensland, and she's currently living in the Sunshine Coast. She is a mother of 2. She has an older son who's 38 and who has a 3-year-old daughter, and she has had a son, Jack, who would have been 21, but he tragically passed away on a motorbike accident when he was just 19, and that was 18 months ago.
Yeah.
To go back, her first interest in anything healing was when she visited her grandmother's place in Balmain when she was in her early 20s. Her grandma had an assortment of books, and one of them was a book of reflexology. It fascinated Debra, and she could see how you can heal so many things with that modality. She became interested in anything metaphysical and the psychic and healing arts. However, she thought you had to be born psychic and a healer, and she thought she didn't have those gifts. Moving forward to when she had Jack, he had asthma as a baby, and she felt the need to go along and take him to a psychic and healing expo. So she instructed Jack's father to take him for a Reiki session while she went off and had a reading. After that session, Jack slept that night or in the afternoon and then all through that night. She found the effect was profound and the healing that Jack had received. So she signed herself up to learn Reiki. Around the time she learnt Reiki, she also attended classes that were led by a teacher that encouraged us to follow our own intuitive style rather than follow a certain structure. And that really worked for Debra. A lot of healers branched out from Reiki and learnt a few different modalities, and she is always adding to her toolkit. She has developed her own style, which is ever evolving, and has the assistance of a vast spirit team, and she taps into them during a healing session. The healing arts will always be a part of her life, even though she has tried to set aside these gifts over the years, but has had them nudging her to share them. And now that the healing arts are becoming more mainstream, it is easy to talk about them without feeling that you're a bit out there. Now that Jack has passed, he is very much part of her spirit team and is encouraging her all along on this journey, and she wouldn't have it any other way. And I need to actually say that when I had my last two healings, I actually experienced Jack being in the room, and it's such a beautiful, beautiful moment to see, you know, mother and son working together, even
Yeah.
though he's not here physically.
Mm.
Moving forward into the future, she'd like to work with animals, having reconnected with them over the last few years. As a child, she loved having animals around her. And now she has a black cat and a golden retriever, and they bring her so much joy. So, welcome, Deborah.
Thank you. And thank you for that beautiful introduction.
Yeah, well, thank you for filling it out. Is there anything that you would like to share before we get into asking the questions?
I think we'll just start with the questions and then we'll go from there.
Okay, that sounds great. Okay, the first one is what brings you joy, Deborah?
Oh, I think for me, it's people that are lighthearted. I love people, um, and being around lighthearted people is fun. There are other things like music. I love live music and go to festivals and live music at pubs and events like that. And that's fun for me too. Particularly like rock and blues and funk and what else? Bluegrass, that sort of thing. Um, Probably not so much jazz, a little bit of jazz or opera, but yeah, those other genres I prefer. Animals bring me joy because they are quite delightful when you see them playing, as mine are. I take my cat and dog across the road from where I live. There's a macadamia orchard, and I take them over there to play together, just away from the other animals because there's a few where I live, so they can spend time together just freely, having a play. What else brings me joy? I think being by water. Water's a big thing for me. I often go to the Noosa River, which is quite nearby, and yeah, hang out there the afternoons.
Mm.
Yeah, that's off the top of my head.
Beautifully, that's fine. That's great that you're aware what brings you joy, because you know there are a lot of people go, oh my goodness, I don't even know. So that's very insightful.
Yeah,
Thank you for sharing.
yeah.
Do you have a fear that you know that it's holding you back?
Oh, yes. And this has been a big handbrake for me most of my life, and that is being seen in the public as in, yeah, I guess not just with the healing gifts, but just in general. Although I've done a lot of work on myself with that and it's getting a lot better. But there are moments when I find that is a bit of a fear. Public speaking's probably was one of my biggest. Um, I've overcome a lot of that, but and that's purely by practice and just, having a go at things. But yeah, public speaking's probably been my biggest fear.
Mm.
Yeah.
And how are you feeling being on here?
This is actually pretty comfortable. Well, I know you and you're making it very comfortable, but I think it's a bit different on a Zoom call because as you may know, I do healing work and not just in person, but online. So I've done a bit of Zoom call healing, so that's comfortable. But if you had me in a room full of people standing up there speaking, I'd be nervous as anything.
Yeah, yeah, it's a tricky one. Have you ever had a life-changing moment?
Well, yeah, a few, and I go straight to my children, and I guess Jack's passing, no, hearing about that was massively life-changing. That was, um, and not in a nice way, but and the other things would have been their births. They were incredibly life-changing as well. So the joy of bringing Damien, my first son, into the world, and then Jack 17 years later, big gap there were massively life-changing. And of course, Jack passing has been massively life-changing as well. But as you've said, like we are working together now which is a great gift. I'm very grateful that he's by my side, and will continue to be so. I'm aware of that. And even though years ago when he was still in his body, I had a feeling that we were going to be working together one day, because Jack had incredible intuitive gifts and psychic gifts as a child. I had no idea it was going to be in this capacity, or this sort of way where he'd be in another dimension. But it kind of, taking aside the heartbreaking side of it, of him not being here in the physical, it's, in a way, he's way more powerful in spirit. Without his body, he can do so much more. As you know, he can turn up when we do our sessions together in the room, or he can be, in New Zealand with a friend overlooking her shoulder while she's working, as I know he does. He can be in multiple places. And so I guess my way of coping with the grief and the tragedy of that is by knowing that he's actually there in spirit. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I'm getting goose pimples. I'm sure he's here now. Not
He's right behind you. He's looking at me, trying to make me laugh. So,
well,
you
I'm feeling the sensation in my ear, and it's like, what are you doing? Yeah.
Yeah, because he knows when he comes forth, it often makes me teary and cry, and he knows I don't want to do that right now. But yeah, so he's kind of like a child pulling faces in the background. Yeah, which is nice.
Good on you, Jack. You keep it
Yeah.
going. Yeah. Is there a moment that you wish you could freeze in time?
Oh, it'd be honestly to be with my children when they were really, really young again. I love babies. I love the baby stage and the young children stage. And I often feel like that goes way too quick. Um, but yeah, there would be moments, and I can't pinpoint any one in particular, but I would just wish that period of their time when they were babies to about 2 years old could be stretched out a bit further. They don't grow up as quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have a trigger that you're aware of and you would like to share about it?
Yeah, I do. It's not a nice subject, but relationships and male relationships can be very triggering, as we know. And there's been a past one that has still had an effect on me and triggers me when I go to certain places. And it wasn't a happy relationship, unfortunately, in the end. That fairy tale ended, and it turned a bit stressful and traumatic for me. And yeah, there's moments when I'm triggered when I go to certain places, and I just have to pull myself together and yeah, just be brave.
Do you have a tool that helps you get through that?
I have a few. Yeah, breathing's a good one actually, because we often, as I was talking about that, I was holding my breath a bit. Making sure you're in your body, and breathing's a good way to do that, to be aware that you're holding your breath, and it's good to keep breathing and being centered. And also, the other tool I use is to connect with my guides and angels and spirit beings, and Jack's one of them, as you know, just to help me feel safe. There's other things like bush flower remedies that I take as well, and I have that in my bag, the emergency essence that Ian White created. He's an Australian, and he created a vast array of bush flower remedies, and they're very good for your emotions. So emergency essence is a great one to have in your handbag, and you just have a few drops of those, and that can calm you right down as well.
Thank you
Yeah.
very much for sharing that.
Yeah.
Yeah. If a genie jump out of the bottle and grant you one wish, what would that be?
Well, aside from the fact that you would love to have abundance, as most people would, and more money, and there's various reasons you'd have that, mine would be peace of mind. I've thought about this, and I've thought, well, ultimately, that that tool just to have that peace of mind, because we all know our minds can be our biggest enemies and the most difficult at times to control or sort out or change. I'd have to say it'd be peace of mind.
Hmm.
Mm,
Yeah. I can relate to that.
yeah.
Is there something that you've never said out loud, but you wish someone would ask you about?
Oh, never said out loud. I think I think for me, I think you can relate to this too, Julie, is there's not necessarily one thing, but it's just when people ask you, how are you, that they actually take the time to listen and really be genuine about it, because we just say it so flippantly these days. And I think the biggest thing people can offer anybody is just that space so that they can allow them to speak and just say whatever it is they need to say in any given moment.
And really be present with it. Mm.
Yeah, yeah. We're so distracted, aren't we, in this world that people, can be talking and a phone rings and then they'll, unless it's urgent or they're waiting for that phone call, they'll go and take that call, and it just makes you feel like you're not important, really.
Mm.
And yeah, I think it's one of those things I'm working on being mindful of or being aware of. Yeah, doing that for others, allowing other people to say what they need to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
when you ask, be genuine about it rather than just saying it for the sake of it.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm. Because I feel like you can really feel when they are in and listening, or when they're just got their eyes glazed over, So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
When was the last time you truly felt seen? And what was it about that moment that has stayed with you?
Actually, it's interesting. I've gone just straight to my older son, Damien. And it was when I visited, actually, and I had a moment where it would have been a bit traumatic. It wasn't that long ago. I had lots of trauma, and I went to visit and I got very upset. And he just sat down next to me, put his hand on my knee, and just said, "It's all right, Mum."
Mm,
Yeah, still
mm,
makes me feel teary. But yeah,
yeah,
he's just able to hold that space, which I'm very proud of him for that, because being a male of that age, around 40 in this day and age, is probably not that easy either. There's not a lot of role models out there for guys. And yeah, he's really very proud of how he can hold space for women. He's got a daughter himself, so that's great. Yeah, and he's an amazing father. But yeah, I really felt, I guess scene doesn't cover it, it just felt, like he was holding that space.
yeah. You
Yeah,
felt the wholeness.
the wholeness of it. Yeah,
Mm,
yeah,
mm. Oh, that's beautiful to
yeah.
have that moment. If you could send one message back to your younger self, a message and not advice, what would that be?
Feel the fear and do it anyway. And
Mm,
I know, it's a well-known one, but it's so true. It is so true. And along with that is in relation to following your heart. Maybe not as far as daredevil stuff, but yeah, as far as following your heart, just feel the fear of that, but just do it anyway, because the fear can also be translated into excitement. So we can the energy's the same whether we're excited or fearful. It's the emotion behind it that really changes it. But yeah, I'd be like, and just don't hold yourself back.
mm.
Yeah, just go
Wow.
for it.
So
Mm.
many layers of that, isn't there? Hey?
Yeah,
But yeah, good
yeah,
advice to your younger self.
yes.
Mhm. What does healing look like for you now, right now?
Yeah, well, hopefully we've come to the end of it. No, I was talking to a friend the other day, and we know there's always layers to it, but it's a bit like, well, we don't want to always be focused on healing. excuse me, I've got a hair that's tickling. We want to also be focused on bringing in joy or optimism or whatever energy abundance that it is we require. So rather than focusing on healing, which can be a trap, uh, I think the way I look at it now, and it's like I'm seeing a green fern unfolding. Um, I know they grow in New Zealand, they grow around here as well, but you know what I mean? The
Mm.
unfurling. And I think it can also be translated into transmutation or transformation is probably a better way of looking at it rather than needing to heal a wound or so transmuting that energy. Does that answer the question or have I gone off track?
No, the
Yeah.
question's how you interpret it, so it's all good. There is no right
Yeah.
answer. It's just how you perceive it and what it means to you. So thank you for sharing that. So
Yeah.
I liked the fern analogy. Yeah.
Like an unfurling or yeah, because there's so many ways you can look at healing.
Mm.
And you can look at it as removing the problem and replacing it with something better, or you can just use it say that it's like an evolving of your self
Mm.
and changing into something or someone or changing the emotions around or the mental patterning around something and into something that's more conducive to where you're at, where you
Yeah.
want to be. Yeah.
Yeah. I I actually recorded, well, I thought I recorded a healing that Deborah did on me, and Jack was very present in the healing, and I didn't
Yeah.
actually press the record button. So and I Jack made this comment, oh well this I went, I hope I'm recording this properly. And Jack made a comment, well, it's good to be a practice run. And as soon as he said those words, I went, I'm not doing it properly because he's thinking it's a practice run. So then the next time we had the healing and I had it recorded, it was like such a quiet healing. And it
Mm.
was so bizarre that it's like I'm not allowed to actually have it recorded. So can you maybe describe a little bit about what your gifts can actually do and how it unfolds? You know, if someone is interested in connecting with you, Deborah, would you mind sharing that with me?
Yeah, sure. And bear with me if I always go a little bit like, now, how do I describe this? Okay, so the way I usually operate is if someone comes to me for an energy session, let's call it, I always ask for their intention first because that sets the benchmark for where we're heading, even though we can go in all different directions, let's say, from there. And spirit always knows what the higher self, or your higher self, I should say, always knows what the priority is. So we work within that framework. And then what happens is I tap into my spirit team and your spirit team, and they can be quite vast and varied from angelic beings, your ancestors, spirit guides, that could be animal or bird or like eagles, big bears. I've had big mother medicine bears come in. Dragon, the dragon realms. We've got the unicorn realms. Have I mentioned the angels? Probably.
At the
Um,
start, yeah.
yeah, yeah. And beyond, oh, the galactic beings. There's just a vast array of spirit. Because if anyone knows about spirit, well, we're in a physical body here, but I always like to think of it a bit like Star Wars. There's multiple planets and beings on them, and the ones that are here to help for our highest good, I call upon. So depending on the person I'm working with and who comes in at the time, it can vary. And of course, I just step out of the way as far as get my mind out of the way, which is actually quite lovely, and the energy just comes in and helps to clear energy from people that's sort of clogging their chakra systems or their energy bodies. And then we bring in, it's a bit like defragging a computer. We can consolidate the programs, take away the old programming, and then bring in the new coding to replace that. It's a bit like that. And other things can happen as well. Also, I get lots of messages that come through. So, but as you know, sometimes it can be a very quiet session. So typical, isn't it? Just when you want to record a whole lot of messages, it goes silent. But that's the way it is. I never know how a session's going to go, other than, we're here to serve and we're here to help. And I'm part of a team, so you could call some of it psychic surgery, where we're removing objects or energetic implants, cording, all sorts of things that can be removed out of people's fields and that are interfering. Oh, the list goes on. It's quite vast, really, and it's quite fascinating. I love it.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
it, it is quite interesting, and I feel that it's really important for me that I actually take the time to integrate what comes out and sit with it, and what I'm
yeah,
going through at the moment. I feel like it's certainly a shedding,
yeah,
and getting to know that new part of me that had been hidden. Yeah, so.
yeah. Absolutely. And that's a good point, because we have so many layers of programming in societies, expectations that we've grown up in this time space reality. And it is literally an unpacking, I guess you could say, like we say now, of that. And usually there's an indication during the session of how long it might take for things to sort of become a bit more apparent that there's a shift. And often you'll be processing a lot of the session during your dream state, when we're actually in that space where we can, spirit got more access to us. So it's like the session I do with you, for instance, sets the scene and starts the process, and then it'll unfold in a nice, gentle way where it can be integrated. Because I can operate quite quickly, and spirit does. However, what I've learned over time is it's also got to be assimilated by the body, all the bodies, the energy bodies. So, yep, I might get a 2 week period where things need to unravel and adjust, and or it could be a month, or whatever the time frame is. It's really, individual.
Mm.
But yeah, that is an important part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And because I've only ever had physical healings with you, what happens when you have a distant healing? Is the person laying on the bed while you're doing it, or are they off doing their normal things and you're just doing your stuff? How does it work?
Yeah, it works pretty much like the Zoom call. I just ask my client to get comfy, have some water there. They can be sitting, lying, preferably sitting or lying, just so that you can be nice and grounded and still. And yeah, and then we just go from there.
Hmm.
Yeah, some people who are very sensitive energetically, and most of my clients are, can actually feel me still working in their field. They can feel if I put my hand on their forehead, they can actually feel that on some level. So it's nice feedback for me to know that, there's just as much going on, let's just say,
Yeah,
while I'm
yeah,
operating. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And of course, most of the healings I had for a long time were from overseas practitioners. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, over in America and places like that. So I was very used to it a long time ago, back when we used Skype.
Wow. Because
Mm.
even though I believe it, it's still something that yeah, I'm still very much in the physical, needing the physical feeling.
Yeah,
Yeah, so one day I'll
yeah,
probably get there.
yeah, and that's the thing. It's a preference. Like, there's a lot that can be shifted and changed remotely because we're all connected in the quantum field, but we are in bodies as well, and sometimes our bodies do need that touch.
Mm.
Um, as part of the session. So yeah,
Yeah.
nice to have that too.
Well, yeah, that's right. Well, thank you for explaining that to me, because I feel like it's a question that I, you know, needed to know. And I'm sure there's more people out there that would be finding that helpful. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm.
absolutely. Yes, that's right. And once you, I think, adjust to that, and I think during COVID, that's when a lot of people went online because they had to, because they didn't have the ability to be physically present. That's when it became a bit more mainstream, yeah, or
Mm.
world globally mainstream. Yeah.
Yeah. Is there anything else that you'd like to share before we say our goodbyes?
I guess what I'd like to say to people is, especially people that think that there's no ever after once a person passes over, or that's it. Well, that's just another, I guess, realm that they're in. And I think as we evolve and the energies shift and it gets more transparent between the realms, we will see a lot more and hear a lot more of our passed over loved ones, whether they're the animals or um, ancestors or your spirit guides. So for those that feel like there's no connection between people that they love dearly and miss dearly, I would just like to say to them, please keep talking to them, connect with them, ask them to help connect to them, because they will, because they do hear us, uh, and they are around us a lot more than we realize. And like I said, pets as well. Some of our animal friends stay with us. So and we can communicate with them or find someone that can help, because it's a huge relief. And like I said before, I would not know how I would have coped with Jack passing if I hadn't had friends relay information and my own connection to confirm that, um, to help me through, this difficult time. And it brings a lot of comfort to know on one level. Obviously, there's certain levels where I still feel like he's gone, but there's a lot of connection there to remind me that he's there, looking after me, loving me from where he is. And hopefully one day I will see him even more and hear him even more. And I know that that's just practice and being quiet and making time for that. Because he has told me, you need to switch everything off, Mum, so you can hear me because you're getting too distracted. So I'm like, okay. So I'm
Yeah.
listening. Yeah, we just need to put the intention out there and be open and available. Yeah. So
I
yeah,
mean, I hope you don't mind me sharing, but I remember you saying that a friend of yours said, "Oh, Jack was around the other day," and that just warmed my heart so much that
yeah.
yeah, that it's not just you, but he's still making an impact in, your friend's life or whatever.
Yeah, and there's a good point, because he did say to me after he passed, not long afterwards, he said, I'm here if people need help with anything. So he's definitely very active in as a kind of like well, I know he's very angelic, his energy, and I'm sure there's other energies that he embodies as well spiritually. But yeah, I've say to people, look, if you are struggling to kind of connect with the spirit realms and you know Jack or you know me, you can ask him, because he's put it out there, if that makes it easier.
Well, I've questioned it a few times. I've felt Jack around, and it's like, and sometimes I say, Jack, can you help or whatever, and I feel the shift, but it's like, yeah, like I feel like he's here now, but I do
Yeah.
judge myself as like, what would I know? How the hell do I
Yeah.
know this? Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the mind, isn't it, that goes into that limited thinking, but there's a part of you that knows and feels them, which is great. And it's lovely for me too, because like any proud mother, you want to know that your children are doing well in the world and doing nice things for other people and helping them. And also
Mm.
it helps me. keep in touch with him and know that, you know, what he's up to. Or some of it.
Even in his cheekiness.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because he
Yeah.
wants to keep it light, and he did say that the other day about keeping things light, and then because I do see little fluffy white feathers around and right in my path when I'm walking, and I know that's him saying, "Just keep it light." Yeah,
Mm,
yeah.
beautiful. Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, thank you very much for everything that you've shared, Deborah. I really, really appreciate it. And I will have Deborah's links in the comments below. And if you feel the need to reach out, Deborah's there, and she really has helped me. I'm unsure. It was Deborah who reached out to me first, and then it was like I reached out to her. So, and I didn't
Yeah.
even do the connection, and it was like, wow, we've actually met before. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it was really, really amazing. So,
Oh,
thank
good.
yeah, thank you for sharing this moment with us, and I hope something in this conversation stays with you, opens something up in you, or simply made you feel seen. If this episode moved you, feel free to share it with someone who might need it too. And if you'd like to continue the journey with us, be sure to subscribe and stay connected. Until next time, take care of your heart and remember your story matters. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Julie.
Deborah.
You're welcome. Thanks.